Before I start talking about some of the news that has happened in the last week, I want to just quickly talk about the coronavirus situation, and that we all know that the coronavirus situation has been pretty dire in these last couple of months. And I know that recently we already have a death that is reported in California because of the coronavirus, which happened in Sacramento, and I think there was also 10 more deaths that happened in Washington State and in the Seattle area. But am I going to be the person that is just kind of freaking out and say that this is pretty much the end of the world as the media is kind of portraying the coronavirus to be? Absolutely not. But do I think I am a little bit concerned of this whole pandemic that is going on? Absolutely. I really hope eventually this virus will go away and eventually we will find an antidote for this virus. And I just hope it doesn't get to a stage where MLS is going to be like what's going on right now in Syria, where Syria, I think they've said that they are not going to have fans attend any of the games, and all the Syria games is going to be playing behind closed doors because of the coronavirus situation, and they're going to do it for at least a month. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point in MLS, because that would really suck, the fact that I won't able to watch my Quakes team play at the Quake Stadium, and that basically I can only like watch them on TV, and that will just be that will really be not only interesting to see how that goes, but it can really affect how the season is, with the fact that most of these games is going to have to play closed door because of the coronavirus situation. Now, from one crisis that is going on around the world to another crisis that has happened in one of the area, and yes, I know I started this news of the week video in a bit of a negative tune, but we got to discuss about the situation in Nashville, where just days after they host their first ever game in MLS against Atlanta United, a tornado just ripped apart their town. And I believe David Accam even posted on his Twitter page of the fact that his entire place was completely ripped apart because of the tornado. And I have also heard that there is around 22 people that have already died because of the tornado in Nashville, and all I have to say is my hearts and prayers goes down to all those people in Nashville, and hope that they of course will be okay. I know there's already a lot of they're already trying their best to recover after this devastating tornado that they have just been hit, and it's going to be interesting to see that when Nashville does come back home, which I think this week they're actually on the road, but the following week they are actually back at home. Whether or not they're going to do a tribute, or the fact that are they going to be... I think that they'll still host a game, because I know that Nissan Stadium wasn't hit very badly. But yeah, it is definitely a very sad things to see, just because of just a couple of days ago they had probably one of the most historic moments in their franchise history, which is playing in their first ever game in MLS history. And yeah, again, thoughts and prayers to all those people that is affected, and all those families in Nashville that unfortunately had their loved ones that suffer casualty in this tornado situation. But now, kind of moving on into a little bit more of a positive tune, is that Montreal, if you're an Impact fan, this was definitely a good week for you. Not just because of the fact that they were able to upset Saprissa in the CONCACAF Champions League, and Thierry Henry able to get his first ever win in MLS by beating New England 2-1, but the fact that they also signed a DP, and they actually decided to sign Victor Wanyama from Tottenham. And I can't believe that when I search up Victor Wanyama, he's only 28 years old. I mean, it feels like he's been around for a while now. And this was a guy that was rated as one of the most underrated midfielder in the Premier League. And, I thought this was definitely a great signing, and he definitely performed very well when he was with Tottenham. But unfortunately, injuries really started to riddle him in the last couple of years. And this is why I think this signing, as much as this is a decent signing for Montreal, and it's definitely an upgrade for them, this can also be a very risky signing, with the fact that Wanyama has been suffering a lot of injuries in the past couple of years, and the fact that you don't know if those injuries not only have crippled him, but if he's going to be spending times in the IR too. I mean, I guess, Montreal, they really want to find a replacement for Piatti, and I'm not quite sure Wanyama is that replacement because they don't really play in the same position. But at the same time, they need to do something considering they just lost their best player in their franchise history, and that they need to make some big splash of money to give the Impact fan that they're not going to be finishing in the bottom of the Eastern Conference as I predicted. And after this signing, I'm already kind of regret putting the Impact in the bottom of the Eastern Conference. DC United also had some big signings that has happened in the last couple of days. So after they lost their first ever game against the Rapids, it seemed like they were kind of in a little bit of panic mode, and that they decided to get a couple of signings to maybe hope to help their team. Well, first of all, they decided to sign Pipa Higuain, and I'm not quite sure, do they sign him as a player or as a player assistant coach, because originally it was reported that they were going to sign him as a player assistant coach. So we shall see whether or not if that is going to be the case now that they bought him in. And they also got Mohamed Abu just a couple of days ago. And basically right now, DC, when you look at their front three and you look at some of the signings that they have made, it seemed like they love to sign some Columbus player. And I would be very interesting to see how when DC play Columbus, that could be very interesting to not only see for Columbus to see one of their best striker in the league and the striker that of course got them to MLS Cup a couple of years ago in Ola Kamara. And then you're also going to be seeing Pipa Higuain, who is just such a legend for the Columbus Crew. But Higuain, obviously I think the reason why he decided to not hang up his boots, which he could have easily done it after he suffered that torn ACL, is that he said he wanted to play more football and he wants to continue his career, and we shall see how he's going to do with DC and whether or not if this is going to be a decent signing. I mean, a couple of years ago, I think this is an absolute amazing signing, and that this probably would not happen because Columbus would never let go of Pipa Higuain. But the reason why they let him go is because he suffered that torn ACL, and that he never kind of he is getting older in terms of his age, and that as the old saying goes, father time will always goes undefeated in terms of trying to eventually win the battle of a player that want to try to defeat father time. And we'll see if Higuain have caught up to father time, and that will we still see some magical moment that he has for the Crew for a very long time, and now he's going to do it for DC United. Now, speaking of DC, they also have report to sign Steven Bergbaum to a multiple-year contract, and I believe this actually is no longer a report, as I think Paul Tenorio, one of the senior analysts in MLS, have said that this deal has been complete, and it's good the fact that DC, of course, secures Steven Bergbaum, because he's one of those defenders that I don't think a lot of people heard about, but he's actually a very decent defender, and that he's kind of being underappreciated in terms of how he is considered one of the better defender and one of the better American defender in MLS. So yeah, it's good to see that they of course secure him to a multi-year contract. But moving on in terms of the next news is that NYCFC acquired midfielder Nicholas Alvido from Liverpool. Alvido, I heard he was with the Liverpool Academy, so he wasn't really a starter with the team. But NYCFC, the rich just get richer for them as they add in some more depth piece in terms of their team, and it just gets to a point where, if this team does not make it, not only if this team does not go deep into the playoffs, but if this team does not get to MLS Cup and potentially winning the competition, this will be a huge failure of a season, and that NYCFC is just in a mode where it's win or pretty much win the MLS Cup or bust for them this season. So yeah, we shall see with this new acquisition. Not only it will improve their depth, but we'll see how they will do for the rest of the season. Well, actually, we won't care about what they do for the rest of the season, besides the fact that, we'll be shocked if they miss the playoffs. But the real measuring point for this team is definitely going to be once they're in the playoffs, and whether or not if they can finally get over that hump of not making past the second round. Alejandro Bedoya no longer occupy a DP slot for the Philadelphia Union, and this is a big surprise because Bedoya, I thought with the way that his contract is and with the way that he plays, you wouldn't think that the Union would be able to buy him down onto a TAM contract, but it seemed like that, of course, is the case, and I guess maybe Bedoya, showing that he actually puts the team first rather than his whole finance situation that he has, and that now the Union has an extra DP slot. And the Union, I think now they have 2 DP slot open because the only DP slot that they have is Jamar Montero. It's going to be interesting to see what are they going to spend some money in terms of getting more DP, because while this team, as we talk about coming into this season, I think this team could still make the playoffs, but they're not going to be as good as last year because they lost some key pieces on this team. It's going to be interesting to see how are they going to replace some of these key pieces, and whether or not if they're going to make more DP signing either in these next couple of months before the transfer window close in May or during the summer transfer window. The Galaxy, of course, have their bid for Edison Alvarez rejected, and I have a feeling most likely the Galaxy probably will not be able to get him now that he has his bid rejected, because I also heard Ajax was interested in getting Edison Alvarez, and anytime when Ajax has come calling for some young players and able to pay a ton of money for him, most likely he's going to be signing with Ajax. And that the Galaxy, well, they are one of the most valuable club in MLS, and they are not shy from spending bunch of money. I don't know if it's really worth it for them to sign, to basically use bunch of money to try to get a defender, even though I know defense is a massive issue for the Galaxy. And keep in mind, if they do sign him and do spend like a bunch of money to try to get him, they'll probably have to make him as a designated player, and the Galaxy right now, they don't have a DP slot open. So most likely this is going to be a foregone conclusion, and the Galaxy, their search for a center back continues, and I have a feeling they're going to have to keep searching, because there is no way in the world this team is going to be competing for MLS Cup if they have that same if that they currently have this defense that is virtually almost the same as last season. Minnesota haven't given up on the Emmanuel Renault sweepstakes. So, throughout this offseason, the Loons, I know they've been trying to get Emmanuel Renault, and I was praying that hopefully this deal will eventually come true, because really, this is just a missing piece for the Loons. This is really the piece that, if they can, of course, get him, I definitely think that they could be a team that, not a lot of people say that they could be MLS contender, but I say that they could be MLS Cup contender. Now, from what I also have heard is that Boca Junior are reluctant to give up on him, and that Reynoso has been in the starting 11 of Boca Junior for the past couple of weeks. So yeah, that also means that Boca probably are reluctant to sell him, and that Minnesota is going to have to up their games in terms of bidding for him. But at the end of the day, I think if we can get Reynoso, this will really improve our chances, not only just making the playoffs, but actually make a run and make a deep playoff run and maybe potentially reach to MLS Cup. Now, there is a rumor that William Yarbrough is going to be heading to the Rapids, and this actually happened today. Now, I am reluctant at first to believe this is going to be true, because William Yarbrough, he's been rumored to come to MLS before. I remember the Dynamo used to report that they were going to get William Yarbrough, but fortunately that rumor fell through. So I don't know if this is going to be the case again with the Rapids. And the Rapids, they obviously are trying to find some solution to replace Tim Howard that retired this offseason. Well, actually, speaking of which, that actually is not true anymore, because Tim Howard decided to do a Landon Donovan today, and he says that he is coming out of retirement to play for the club that he currently co-owned, which is Memphis 901 FC. And by the way, speaking of Landon Donovan, happy birthday to Landon, who is now 38 years old, and I will now start it. Since now he has retired, I'm gonna start to forgive him for what he did a couple of years ago, where he decided to just completely jump the ship, where he was with the Quakes for a while and then just jump the ship and go to our biggest rival, that is the LA Galaxy. Again, you know, it's gonna definitely take many years to do it. I mean, I'm kind of just still started in the forgiving process, but it's always bear in any Quakes fans' mind that Landon Donovan is kind of a Judas and probably will forever be a Judas of what he did a couple of years ago. But speaking, kind of going back to what I said about Tim Howard and that he kind of did a Landon Donovan here. I mean, this was a guy that he says he was going to retire, and now he is back from being retired to now being unretired and play for the club that he co-owned. And in some way, you could even say that this is kind of a Didier Drogba move, because remember, Drogba, he was supposed to be retiring, but then he decided to come to Phoenix, who he also owns that team, and play for that team. Although, actually, I don't think Didier Drogba actually decided to retire. I think he actually went to Phoenix Rising, and that he actually never announced his retirement. He just wanted to play there for a couple of years before he, of course, co-owned that team. So, in some way, it's kind of a mix of Landon Donovan and Didier Drogba-esque move that Tim Howard just did by deciding to come out of retirement and play for the club that he currently co-owns. But going back to this, talk about William Yarbrough. Again, you know, it'll be interesting to see whether or not if this is going to happen, and that I think Clint Irvin is a decent goalkeeper for the Rapids, and that I don't think they necessarily need to get William Yarbrough, but I also think that it could be an upgrade if they are able to get Yarbrough, and that, you know, it would definitely be a better upgrade than Clint Irvin right now, even though I think Clint Irvin is a very decent goalkeeper and he should do just a well of a job than when Tim Howard was with the Rapids in his last couple of years before he was supposed to retire, but now unretiring and joining Memphis 901 FC. And it will be interesting to see how long he's gonna be playing with the club, and that is he going to do a Landon Donovan where, you know, he come out of retirement and then he basically at least say after a couple of months, yeah, I'm just gonna hang up my boots again because I'm completely washed up, and this whole unretiring from my playing career didn't really work out the way that I was hoping for. But either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time. And also, if there's any news I haven't covered on this board, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you guys next time.